Hello everybody and welcome back yet again to another daily update video. My name is CryptoStash and I hope you're having an amazing weekend. Let's get right to the charts as Bitcoin is right now perfectly bouncing, as you can see from our macro support level right here of this whole range basically that we have. You can see this was the target that I was talking about on my X for a lot of time. You can see right here I did have posted basically 98 to 93k. Those levels would be the most important ones that we have. And right now Bitcoin is bouncing from right here. The stock market also did close once again potentially bullish, as you can see, after bouncing from the 200 moving average. You can see perfectly closing above this level, like the one that we got a couple of days ago. Basically, I think this was on the 7th, and right now it is repeating. So until the stock markets start breaking lower, then potentially I would be expecting for Bitcoin to recover from this level right here. And I would be expecting a push to test potentially 100k, or I did have around 98 to 99k would be a perfect level for Bitcoin to bounce from. You can see we do have, you can see those are our yearly pivots, and right now we are approaching the yearly pivot, which would be sitting around $80,000, and we are, as you can see, on the weekly below the 50 moving average. This is something that right now a lot of people are talking about, even though before nobody was talking about it. You can see I do have this moving average since back in the days on my charts. I've always been using them, but right now everybody is talking about it, since on the weekly time frame it has acted for 3 times as support for the bull market. And right now it is very important that Bitcoin actually reclaims or closes the weekly candle. We want to see a push back above 98 to 99k. Basically, if we manage to close the weekly above this level, then potentially it would be time to flip bullish once again, since as you can see we did reach my target that I was talking about right here. And if we start to push back above, basically 106k would be the resistance once again. Since this is yearly level, it would be a very important level for Bitcoin. And then potentially if we reject once again, this would create a hard time frame, weekly time frame, lower high at around 106, which would be of course not good for Bitcoin. But as of right now we are looking for a potential bounce, since we did have 3 weeks in a row of bearish price action. So it is just a matter of time before we get somewhat of a relief bounce to the upside. On the daily time frame, you can see our RSI momentum almost hitting that 20 line. Not that oversold yet, but we are basically getting really close. And as I have told you, we are due for somewhat of a correction. Ethereum right now also potentially bottoming out at this low that we have right here. And if we reclaim the weekly S1, potentially we can go up once again towards the weekly pivot for another test. But as you can see, if we reject, we are going to be continuing this bearish downtrend until eventually a breakthrough of the structure. What else? Solana right now also trading below the POC, as you can see right here. So this would be right now acting as resistance, of course. So if we break above 145, then we can potentially reclaim back above the range, and then 195, 196 would be still another considerable level. Hype still remaining around $38, $37, still in this range right here. SUI is actually looking really weak right now, but potentially we are putting in somewhat of a bullish divergence right here, so we might actually get somewhat of a relief pump for SUI. XRP also still in this range right here. The pump token also potentially will soon break out of this downwards trend line basically, and then we are going to be seeing this breakout. The Bitcoin dominance, as I said yesterday, on the weekly time frame, it looks really bad. It is, in my opinion, due for somewhat of a correction to the downside, which would be pretty nice for the altcoins. We might see the altcoins start to go higher once again if the Bitcoin dominance starts dropping. The dollar also looks like on the weekly like it might go down a bit once again before resuming its upward trend. You can see on the daily time frame the moving averages are actually clipping to the upside, potentially bullish, but as of right now still will be acting as support. So if we go right here and look at our open interest and our delta, you can see right now we do have the price going down, the open interest going down, the CVD going down. And so what this means for Bitcoin, it means that this move is not sustainable and we are due for somewhat of either a range right here or a price rebound potentially to, as I have said, 98 to 99k for before we potentially drop lower if we don't break out higher of this trend. We do have also a lot of liquidity build up to the top side after this massive 3 weeks of downwards price action. You can see we do have right now liquidity sitting to the upside and it might get taken out during this weekend. We did lose quite a bit of market cap. I think it was around 3.56 before this move started, and right now the market cap is sitting at 3.22 million, which is of course normal after this much liquidations happened. The ETF inflows saw the biggest second week of outflows. The bigger institutions were selling off Bitcoin like crazy, and of course because of this you can see the fear and greed index is right now sitting at 16. We are in the extreme fear for the first time since back in April, where price was trading around 78 and 74k, which is basically where we bottomed out. Right now the price is back into this extreme fear zone, which of course would be potentially signaling for a bottom. Of course, if we don't get a deeper retracement, potentially towards 85,000 or the deepest retracement 80k, or we might even go to grab the liquidity down at 74 or below it, basically sweep this bottom at around 72 to 70k. It is also very possible to happen if we start getting another rejection potentially and continue this trend to the downside. The long versus shorts ratio for the weekend is right now more buyers in the market, as you can see. Funding rates are remaining positive on the major exchanges, you can see. And for the next week we do have news on Thursday and we do have FOMC meeting on Wednesday. So of course some very important news would be happening next week. Since the government has reopened, we are going to be getting some data finally. So this might be looking good for the market It depends how the data comes out. And I think this covers it for today, guys. I hope you liked it. Stay bullish, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.